Hello, everyone. This is Tina van Leuven, Practical Joy Alchemist and the host of the Joy Evolution Summit. And I am so delighted to be having these juicy, inspiring conversations with the most amazing joy beacons from around the world. And today, to be introducing you to one of our gorgeous speakers, who also is a dear friend of mine, Lena Barnes. She's a side hustle expert, qualified coach, and author. As a founder of the Global Side Hustle Academy and its flagship online training program, Side Hustle with a Purpose, this transformational program is for people who want to reconnect with their purpose and create positive change for the planet. Lena believes that we need to transform the way we think about how we work and generate income in a way where there's no real precedent. It's uncharted, trailblazing territory. Having a side hustle isn't a trend or fad, it's here to stay. Lena's always followed her own path and has taken many courageous steps along the way. Over her 30-year career and across 5 countries, she's worked in the corporate, private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Now, on her 4th side hustle turned full-time gig, she's committed to supporting others finally turn their idea into a side hustle, and will be launching a project for 2020 that's going to change how we view the future of work. And today, Lena is going to be sharing with us her journey to joy and how we can go from limiting beliefs to a deep reconnection with joy, their eye-opening journey of a purpose-driven business owner. Welcome, Lena.
Thank you. Thanks, Tina. And thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this incredible summit. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So happy you're here. Gosh, I've been witnessing your journey, and it's just been so awesome to see how you have really stepped into embodying joy. So I'd love for you to share with our audience a little bit about your journey to joy, because our intention for our conversations here is to inspire others to see how we can go from thinking about joy to embodying it, so really living it and bringing it into our life. So tell us a little bit about your journey to joy.
Gosh, Tina, and I think you're right. I think it is still a journey to joy, and I learn about it every single day. And it's interesting because you think, when you said the 30-year career and 5 countries, 3 continents, I just sometimes I do wonder how it's all kind of evolved to this point. And I think there's so many little steps along the way in terms of where I found joy, and that's anything from my family, my kids, but really, I think the path that I carved in terms of my career and moving from, being an employee to now being, I suppose maybe I could call myself a full-time entrepreneur. Not entirely sure if that's what I now am, but that's where I think I kind of realized that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I know that sounds like a cliche word, journey, but I feel that, there's moments of bright sparking lights that have been along the way, which have helped me reconnect to my joy. But I think it's tricky, finding the joy in the smallest of moments. And I think really, if I had to sum it up, that's what it is. It's, finding the joy in looking at my children playing nicely, finding the joy in helping somebody achieve what they want to achieve in their business, finding the joy, the inner joy in myself. So then when I look on, what I say on the outside matches the inside.
Beautiful. Yeah. And it is so true, isn't it, about enjoying the journey. I think in our society, we're so trained, conditioned to be focused on the goals, reaching the outcome, that we forget to actually enjoy the journey there, the process there. And if so many people do that, outward oriented, they forget to be and experience that joy here and now.
Yeah. And you're so right, because I am, and you've known me for a while, I'm very driven, I'm very ambitious, I am goal orientated. And what I found is that consumed me in terms of my time, and it zapped me in some ways of my joy, because it was all about the target, all about what can I achieve? And whereas I think that you really need that, if you're a purpose-driven business owner, my goodness, do you need to be driven and you need to have goals and targets, but that's not the defining factor. The defining factor is, how do you feel at the end of the day? Do you feel like you've done your best? Have you reconnected with your heart? And that's part of what I've done in the past year, is rather than connecting with what I should be doing, for who I should be working with where I should be working and how I should be working, about thinking, really reconnecting with my heart and saying, what is it that I am here to do? What is my purpose? And what does that look like in the world? And by doing that, it's kind of redressing that balance between goal-driven to this kind of softer, more vulnerable, heart-centered space. Now, I wouldn't say I'm quite there yet. I'm still going, and sometimes I go one way, sometimes I go the other way. But I'm aware of it now, and I think that's been an incredible thing.
Yeah, that's so good, because you bring up a really important point. I think when you were talking about all the things you should be doing, and really according to whom, huh? And so giving yourself permission to connect in with what you want to do, what lights you up, instead of trying to please, whoever they are that say you should be doing things.
Yeah. And Tina, the people pleasing element, oh my goodness. I'm putting the final touches on a chapter in an anthology book that I'm writing, and one of the elements of that talks about people pleasing, and over the years I've realized how much emphasis I have placed on that as a driving force. And when you realize, and you look at it, you're able to kind of look at it head on and say, is this what I've been doing? And then who is it for? And asking those really clear questions, and also having other people ask you those questions, is to say, what does that really mean to you? What is the purpose in pleasing somebody else when it certainly doesn't, even connect with what you're doing yourself? So yeah, that's been a massive eye-opener.
Yeah, well, I'm sure many in our audience can relate, because that's definitely been part of my journey too. And I'm still finding that there are certain situations where it's like this default setting kicks in, and everything, even though you know it up here, you suddenly look and go, who the hell was that just showed up,
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, it's an ongoing process. Beautiful. So speaking of what zaps your joy, what does zap your joy?
Oof. I think it's a great question. What zaps my joy? When I'm not connected with myself. Yeah. And when I'm not connected, I feel the energy, and I feel the happiness and the joy just somehow it's outside of me rather than inside of me. And I think all too often we blame others for zapping our joy, and I've had my fair share of that over the years, and Tina, as a mentor along the way, you've experienced that with me, and really I think taking responsibility not only for the good and the joy, but also taking responsibility for what zaps my joy. And and that's a realization that I've only had recently, I think, even though I've always known, but I think, as you've just said there, you might know it there, but until it gets into here, into your heart, and until you feel it, you don't realize the power of blaming others, blaming the environment, blaming, because you don't have this, you don't have that. That's what's zapping my joy. It's that person that's zapping my joy. It's because of the traffic. And what I've realized is that it comes from within, and which is really empowering, because if it comes from within, it means I have the control and the opportunity to do something about it, rather than waiting for somebody to stop being in, you know what. I'll try and keep the expletives down, because I am originally from Ireland with my hybrid accent, so I can get a bit sweary. So
you can let it rip, baby.
We're like halfway in, so we've got plenty of time to be swearing, right? But yeah, waiting for somebody else or something else to change. But even then, like, you know, it's a work in progress. I'm not there just yet.
Yeah. But that's a really, really, really powerful reminder, because again, I'm sure that many in our audience can relate. How easy is it to want to blame something or somebody for how you're feeling? And, you know, when you realize that, as confronting as that may be, that, wow, you are the one who gets to choose how you respond instead of react. Yeah. It's a game changer, huh?
But it's so annoying, because you want to blame them. You're just like, why can't it be this easy? Why can't I just blame that person and then they go away and then I'm happy?
Yeah, I know one of the most powerful things, a series of questions that really made a difference in my life, are the questions that Byron Katie states. You know, like there are 3 types of business: your business, other people's business, and God's source's business. So whenever you find yourself in this situation, I've had to remind myself of that numerous times and still do. If I find myself going, oh, if only they would, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm being in their business, come back to me.
That's it.
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, beautiful. So on the other flip side, what sparks your joy?
Well, another great question. I feel like this is a great question, Tina. Thanks for asking me. I'm really appreciative.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Look, more things than I realize, Tina. And it's interesting because, and sometimes it's just in the simplest and purest of moments. So taking an early morning walk, you know, and just breathing in the ocean and hearing the birds, you know, they're tweeting, and just before everyone gets up, that sparks my joy. Supporting people and helping people, serving others, really, I've realized how much I really love that, and the joy that it sparks within me when I can see somebody else. Do you know when you see somebody click, you see something just change, and you're like, that's it. That's the golden moment when they get it for themselves. That for me, that sparks a lot of joy. And just, simple things. Like I was baking the other day. I love baking. Gosh, I never thought I'd say that, but I do. Love a bit of baking. And I love, dancing and laughing. And when my kids get on, that sparks my joy. When they're getting on, then I feel like, yes.
Yeah, I love that, because I know one of the other speakers, or several of the speakers with kids, have said, one of the things that zaps their joy is when when there's family conflict, and it's the same side, if everybody gets on. Yeah, how beautiful that is, huh?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. So I invite our audience to just feel like, some of these things that Lena is sharing here, how may that be something that you might like to bring into your life and to apply it in whichever area where you would like to experience more joy? Because part of our beautiful opportunity here to share is to participate in the practical joy experiment, and to really realize that not just taking it from here, but bringing it into the body, so applying it in your life. So maybe, going by the tips that Lena shared of how you could maybe stop blaming others, be aware of that, because that zaps your joy, or look to see, maybe spending time in nature, or finding, maybe dancing, cooking, discovering something that you really enjoy. Let us know what really would be fun for you to take on. So this is awesome.
And that's a great point, because I think we're so consumed with what others are doing, and we should, again, the should word, right? So if if Lena's done this and this and this, and she goes for an early morning walk, well, then I should go for an early morning walk, because then that will give me, help me along the same path. Whereas in fact, it's about reconnecting with exactly what you just said, with what brings you joy. For somebody else, going to the ocean first at 6 o'clock in the morning is like, no, thank you, not even close.
Yeah.
But doing something else, whatever that might be, painting, reading, I don't know, there's a plethora of things, golfing, blah, watching cricket. I mean, that's what brings my husband joy, is watching cricket. Doesn't bring me joy. No. So it's really, and trusting yourself. And I think that's the thing, I didn't do it for a long time, because again, you think you should be doing something else, but trusting yourself and asking yourself, how does it feel? I think this is something you taught me, does it feel light or heavy? And if following somebody else's morning routine of a, meditation, walk, journal, cold shower, plunge bath, blah, 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 you just go, no, then that obviously doesn't bring you joy. So don't do it. Do something else, and ask yourself the question. Yeah,
that's so powerful. Absolutely. Exactly, because joy's definition is different for everyone, and many people tend to think of joy as something that's really outside themselves, and thereby looking to compare. And as they say, comparison is the thief of joy. So
yes. Yes, comparison is overrated. And it's interesting, because the work that I'm doing now, people often they'll ask me something like, well, if I start a side hustle, when will I get my first client, and when will I be able to scale it to a full-time job, and when it's like, when did somebody else do it? When did you do it? Or and it's like, well, there are different people who have different goals. They spend different times on it, invest different money. There are so many fluid factors that go into something. So if you start comparing yourself, you're only going to fall short. And then like you said, you're robbing yourself of your own eye-opening journey, rather than, thinking, oh, well, they've done it, or they haven't done it, so I shouldn't do it.
Yeah. And the beauty in having these beautiful conversations is that, everyone can pick up something maybe that they haven't tried, so that you give yourself an opportunity to experience something that you may not even have thought of, something that could bring you joy. Try it on and then decide for yourself, right?
Yeah. And even just hearing somebody, we might have heard the same message 50 times, but the way maybe that somebody says it or interprets it, or the tone of their voice, suddenly, a bit like that aha moment, you go, oh, that's what it means to find joy, or that's what it means. And you think, and then you go, but I'm sure somebody said that to me. I'm sure I've heard that many times before, but yet why is it clicked now? And often it sometimes can be how you're hearing it, but also that you're ready to receive and you're ready to hear. And I think that's, for those of your audience who are impatient, I can totally align with that, and sympathize, empathize, and do all of those things with patience, because we think that something like joy, it should, well, if I've done the inner work, I've addressed my limiting beliefs, I've got a successful business, kids, tick, 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 tick. Well, then it's, where is the joy? Where is it? Because it should be here. And I think that impatience can sometimes be can be challenging to receive what it is that you need to receive.
Yeah, and speaking of that, if you look back at your life, is there a time in your life where you wish that you had been able to receive or experience or know more joy?
Tina, I think there are many times, if I, can honestly put my hand on my heart, and, being somebody who has, I think, for many, many years outwardly shown and outwardly given the impression of total joy and happiness, and it not being aligned inside me. I think that, there are, gosh, to pick a time, I think if I'm honest, it was when after my first child was born, and I had this impression that after you've had a baby, and some listeners, some of the audience will relate to this, is that after you have a baby, you're meant to be in this beautiful, angelic, swooning, mother-like presence, and the baby is, and you're breastfeeding, and it's just magical, and so much connection. And I found my first child didn't sleep, was not a very good feeder, was cried a lot, and also we had to change nappies significantly. I didn't know that. I mean, I realized that, but I wasn't quite prepared. And I think just that not enjoying those really early moments, because they were hot. I mean, I was significantly sleep deprived, and food was all over the place, and I didn't see the outside world for quite a while. So I think that would be one moment, I think, that I would love to I'd love to have experienced more joy, and again in the moment of it, because we'd had a lot of trouble getting pregnant. So to then kind of have a baby, and then not to feel, I felt love, and I felt all of those emotions, but actually enjoying the process of, enjoying the moments of feeding and changing, and it was totally different to what the movies tell us. And since then, we've had a lot more realistic movies and books come out about what it's really like. But yeah,
that's beautiful and powerful. And I think for anyone who's listening who either has had similar experience, I think one of the things that happens there, again, the should voices creep in and say you should be feeling this or should be feeling that. But to have the space to have open conversation about this and realize that, wow, by you sharing this, Lena, it's maybe helping somebody else who is experiencing something similar realize that, wow, you know what, you're not alone. And it's okay. And here are some things that you can do about it. So I love that.
And you're right, because often a lot of conversations like this are very taboo, even now, hugely taboo. And we don't talk about it because we're expected. And particularly as I was a mum in my 30s, so I'd had a pretty successful career, a husband, solid family unit. We had, the house, we had money saved. So it was, all the boxes were ticked. I was anything I kind of turned my hand to, I was good at. So then to kind of be faced with something that was totally out of my control, really, was quite an eye opener. But you're right. We do need to talk more about, and I do too, because it's something I haven't really spoken about. So so that was quite nice for me to share it as well. So thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. You're welcome. So speaking of, from limiting beliefs to a deep reconnection with joy, your eye-opening journey of a purpose-driven business owner, can you share a little bit about that? Maybe what it would be, what would you say, maybe this can, because we could talk for hours. We're getting to the end of our chat.
It's slow to warm up, and then
But as we're diving in, let's just maybe the one or two major limiting beliefs that you have experienced for yourself, having to overcome to a deeper reconnection with joy, or that you support others with transforming. What would you say they are?
I would say it comes down to worthiness. That you're not, well, I'll talk about myself then, not worthy to, and then insert the blank, basically. And I find that that's something I have, I probably didn't realize was a limiting belief, because, as I said, I kind of went through life kind of doing things, going to uni, getting jobs, eventually finding my husband, starting and scaling businesses, so having babies. So it kind of, and having what I would have considered really solid self-esteem. Like I'm a confident person. I'm outgoing. I'm a go-getter. I do all those things, but what I realized is that there was some worthiness questions that I hadn't considered or asked myself, and they were, as I was developing one of my businesses, my consulting business, and at that point, Tina, you were supporting me along my journey as an incredible mentor and coach, is really stripping back the real reason as to what was stopping me taking significant steps. And we uncovered some things that I didn't even realize were limiting beliefs around worthiness, and some things that I had not addressed for many, many years. And only through the process of wondering why I didn't want to launch a business, or what was stopping me from launching a business, that you would think, well, it's probably time, it's probably money, it's probably usually those two, really. That's kind of, but in fact, those two play a role. But in fact, really what was underneath it was whether or not, was I worthy enough to do that, and what would people think? What would people think if I was outrageous enough to throw the rule book out the window and say, no, I'm going to start a business that suits my family's lifestyle. I'm going to work less and get paid more. I am going to, define the hours that I want to work. I'm going to go on holidays 3 times a year. I'm going to all of these things. But then it just came in. It's like, even now you feel it. It's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And just being in a space to be able to cut through the crap, Tina. That's really it. You kind of put something on the table, and you might say, I don't want to make a change. And if any of the audience are going through not just starting a business, but any sort of change in their lives, to cut through what the real reason is. Because as we know, the first reason you give is that it's that surface level, and it's not until, and this is what I do with my clients, and I know you do too, is really just asking really pertinent questions that relate to what the real reason is. And sometimes you might need to ask a question 5, 6, 10 times in slightly different ways to really boil down to what's the root, what's the essence of that limiting belief. Because then once you've got to it, you can look at it, and it's not that kind of the scary thing in the corner. It's not the taboo subject. It's not the thing that you shouldn't talk about. It's there. And actually, once you bring it up, it can often not be as, it can bring up many emotions, and it can bring up healing opportunities. But sometimes avoiding it is worse than not looking at it.
Yeah, it's very liberating, isn't it? It can feel scary as hell, but it feels liberating. Yeah.
Scary as hell.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's so beautiful to have support in place, and so somebody who really gets that.
Yeah.
And you do that with yours. And I've witnessed you set your intention on things, align with why it mattered to you, and then make it happen and feel incredibly fulfilled and joyful throughout the process, which has been so beautiful. So I'd love for you to share a little bit. You've created a beautiful gift for those who are interested in starting a side hustle, and they can get that on your site. We'll put the link below the video.
Yep.
But it's finally start the side hustle you've always dreamed of, using these 7 tried and tested easy steps.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So look, what I did was I realized that not everybody is going to be able to engage a coach to help them with what they want to achieve in terms of starting a side hustle. So I thought, why don't I put put something together, 7 steps that I've used, and I've used, like you said, I mean, I say 4 side hustles. It's probably more than that, because if I look at different things along the way, I'm like, oh, is that a side hustle? I'm not quite sure. But what I wanted to do was just put something together so people could sequentially just go through those steps to say, well, how to find a profitable idea. Why are you doing it? This is the one thing. And having, so I've done some lecturing at uni for probably about 5 years, and I've lectured on management subjects and sustainability subjects. And what I find is that it's all about the practical stuff, right? And we need the practical stuff of business, but it misses the why. Why are you doing this? Because the day you find your why and you reconnect with that, it doesn't matter about the how. And it's funny because you're smiling because I didn't get that in the beginning. I didn't. I was like, no, but if I get the strategy in place and the plan and the blah, it will be fine. No. Yes, you need that. The why, the purpose behind it. So yeah, I talk a little bit about that, and just that kind of the pathway to be able to start your side hustle and things like facing your fears, which is awesome. And then I try and share my knowledge and tips and hacks every week. I have a blog, and I just set up a YouTube channel. So, oh, my kids are so excited. They said, "You're a YouTuber, Mummy." I'm like, so if you see my YouTube video and I've got a subscriber, it's my 6-year-old YouTube channel. I am sure I will go from strength to strength, and maybe after this there will be a few more.
Absolutely.
I hope, and I really hope your audience can get something from it. I know I've had so many people contact me just from downloading that resource that they've been able to actually move from that idea into action, and they've started their path, which is incredible.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's one of the things too, just to wrap up our time together here, to realize that we all have things that we are naturally really brilliant at that come so easily to us that we don't tend to attach value to it because it's so easy. But realizing that what comes easy to you is of immense value to others. I think with you sharing this resource is a great example of that.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow. So I invite our audience to maybe just pick up 1 or 2 nuggets that have really jumped out at you from our conversation here with Lena today, and see about applying that in your life. I invite you to come and join, if you haven't already, our private Facebook group where the Practical Joy experiment is taking place. And whether you wish to participate there, buddy up with someone, or you wish to do this on your own outside of Facebook with some people, buddy up. It's so amazing to do this together. But Practical Joy experiment is about looking at an area of your life anywhere where you feel that you could really use a bit more joy, and apply some of these nuggets that you've picked up, bring it into your life, and start actually experiencing the shifts that are happening, so that you don't just receive all this deliciously inspiring content that everyone is sharing with us, but you're doing something with it, and that's where the magic happens. So I invite you to join us there. And if you enjoyed this conversation and love all the other conversations in our Joy Evolution Summit, then please be sure to share this with your friends. Truly bringing joy into the world starts with each of us. And when we come together, collaborate and share, anything is possible. So let's go for it. So thank you, Lena. It's been such a joy to have you here with us today. I love how you shared what zaps your joy and what sparks your joy and what your journey's been like, and also the importance of transforming those limiting beliefs to really experience more joy, and how the worthiness is such a powerful awareness moment in that. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say as a last minute wrap up before we say bye for now?
Oh gosh, Tina, look, no, thank you so much for inviting me and letting me be a part of this. And I think you're absolutely right, is that the practical element, and this is the part that I've been very successful in, is the practical element, but not the heart and the joy space. So yes, just for people just to really connect in with themselves. And then if that little voice in your head has been telling you to do something, or pick up a book or listen to a podcast or join, join the Practical Joy Evolution.
An experiment, the Practical Joy experiment.
There you go. See, look, I'm putting in extra words for you. It'll be but whatever it is, just give yourself some quiet time and pay attention to it, and then take some action and see where it leads you. And I hope that people get a lot out of this, incredible work that you've put together here, Tina. I'm excited to hear other interviews and other people and take my own learnings from it, because I think we all need to be continual learners, and it's great that there are summits and events like this to help us grow as practitioners, but also as individuals with our own joy. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Lena. Wow, for our audience, thank you for being here. Join us for our next conversation. And again, be sure to participate in our Facebook group and to share the joy with your friends. And until we meet again, go forth. Let joy be your guide to a life that is worth waking up for every day. Many joyful blessings.